Good morning, YouTube. Today's Bible verse comes from Matthew chapter 7, verse 13. Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. But small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. That is today's Bible verse. The title of this portion of the chapter is called The Narrow and Wide Gate. Okay, so when I read this, the first thing that popped into my head was the choices that we make. The choices that we make. So I ask you, what path are you on? This verse says, broad is the road that leads to destruction, and many enter through it. Narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. Okay, so let's break this down. In order to break this down, we have to go to John chapter 10, verse 7, which we visited a couple of days ago. And this is what it says. I tell you the truth. I am the gate for the sheep. And then if we go down to verse 9, I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. He will come in and go out and find pasture. So these are the words of Jesus. Okay? So let's break this down a little bit more. If we go to the last part of this verse, it says, but small is the gate and narrow the road that leads to life, and only a few find it. So, how do we find it? We have to go to John chapter 10, verse 3. The watchman opens the gate for him, and the sheep listen to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all of his own, he goes ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. So I'm not sure if you all get it already, but you have to ask yourself, am I doing what everybody else is doing? Or am I doing what the word tells me to do? That's how we hear. We hear by the word. We hear his voice by the word. So if we are his own, today's Bible verse says, and only a few find it. If we hear the word of God, if we're in the word, then that's how we find the narrow gate, the small gate. And I'm not sure if you all picked it up, but Jesus says, I am the gate. I am the gate, which means everybody has to come through me. Whether you go through the wide gate or the small gate, you got to come through me. Another thing I was telling you yesterday, all of our steps are already ordered. All of our steps are already ordered. Jesus is the gate. So, to put today's Bible verse into action, live an application of today's Bible verse. Enter through the narrow gate. How do you enter through the narrow gate? Only a few can find it. How do they find it? By listening to the word of God. How do we listen to the word of God? By studying the word of God. By studying our Bible and listening to that still, quiet voice. That is today's Bible verse. Remember, you have the power to make it a great day.